And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Mecca of Banter podcast is back.
Yes,
After 2 years away from the studio, we are all here together.
Back home, baby.
Cheers to that.
Yeah,
Cheers to the
around
boys.
that.
It feels great to be back here with our boy D at Half Coast Studios. Absolute legend. Thank you for getting us here, man. We really appreciate you. And I also want to do a little shout out before these intros to our boy Henry,
Hey,
who is recently engaged.
come on now.
Hey.
Come on now.
Our
Big
boy's
shouts.
getting married.
Shout out Paige one time.
Shout out Paige one time. I will tell you, that's going to be a great wedding.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a
Come on now.
great day. But huge congratulations to the kid. And we're gonna rip some intros here, man. And a lot of us have been talking with each other about what's been going on in the world of football this last week. And I know we've got some feelings that we want to express today. But let's rip these intros. Let's start off with the kid who I just mentioned, Mr. Henry. How we doing, brother?
What's up, fellas? It's your boy Hen here. You can find me on Twitter at Henry Wind. It's a great week to be a Manchester United fan. You know, anytime you come off of a
feels good to hear live.
you come off of a W, it's great. You know, it doesn't matter what league they play in, but we're
Huge
here.
W for sure.
Huge W's in the chat. I'm excited to talk this little lineup here. We got a good episode for y'all.
Absolutely. Dobes?
What's going on, fellas? Good to be back here. Second member of the United Corner over here. I would like to say, those who've been on Twitter today, happy holidays.
Yes.
You know, about 4 years ago today, best, January transfer of all time, Bruno Fernandes.
Oh,
Yes,
sir.
Started for
Come and
Manchester
gag me, I'm
United
over
today.
it.
So
I was wondering where this was
I wanted to
going.
make sure I just said happy holidays to arguably one of the best midfielders in Premier League history. Other than that, fellas, it's so good to be back in person. The banter's so much better. Missed it like crazy. So let's get going. Ready to dive in.
I will agree. It is much better in person.
So much
100%.
better in person.
Nikki, how we feeling over in the Chelsea solitary corner?
We're good. We're good. It's like everyone's been saying. It's good to be back in person. You guys can find me on Twitter at Hafey4. I wanted to bring that up because I did a revamp of my Twitter, guys, and I'm completely in on all the new Chelsea's Twitter,
The dark holes.
toxicity that is
Scary
the
place,
Twitter world or the X world. So you guys can definitely start chatting with me on there and talking shit because I'm very active. But we've been okay. The roller coaster hasn't been crazy of lately. It's been kind of steadying the ride a little bit more. But I'm happy to talk about this lineup because we aren't talking a lot about Chelsea. So
In Pochettino, we trust.
Yeah,
baby.
Poch we trust. Yeah,
Dude,
I don't
setting
know
the
that,
mid-table
but-
shift. Yeah.
You're in the Mickey Mouse final with us.
absolutely.
It's going to be a great day.
Oh, that is a prestigious trophy.
I'll tell
Yes,
you
it
what,
is.
boy. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
Yes,
man.
it is. And over here we got the North London corner.
Yeah.
Yes,
Share
sir.
the
Look
mic,
at these
baby.
two.
Share the mic.
These two chaps sharing the mic. A lot
Sharing the
of
city.
rivalry over here,
Yeah.
but we're gonna start with Dinkelberg. How you doing, brother?
Good. What's up, gentlemen? Yeah, if there was one person I would have rather not shared a mic with on our first in-person episode back, it would be this.
So fitting.
No, I'm just kidding, though. It's actually sick. What's up, everybody? It's Wings. You can find me on Twitter at LCW21. You know, I haven't been able to watch my team play in 9 days, so that's been really weird. But also, compared to last year, this time we were playing, 2 to 3 games, every week and a half. So it's been kind of a nice break, and knowing that we have our first Prem game back tomorrow and then another one at the weekend. Probably good that we got that rest.
Would you rather play every 2 or 3 days and bottle the league, or have 9 days in between
All right,
games
Andy
and bottle
Hoover,
the league?
how you doing, brother? How you doing?
You just have to, yeah.
What's up, Goof?
Yo, I think he didn't want to share the mic because I was just going to hog it the entire time. Just with my hot takes. Yeah, Young Yid over on Twitter. Still active. Always has been. Always will be. I think I'm keeping the Mecca Twitter alive, too, with those takes.
Yes, sir.
But, yeah, life's good. Things are going well.
Hell yeah,
We're
bro.
not in, what are you, Nick, 10th? So, always could be worse. There's always, you always got to look at the bright side out here when you follow a European team that's thousands of miles away and you don't live in the country of. So, look at the bright side. It's not bad.
Hell yeah.
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you, bro. I gotta say, you might have the best Twitter name of all of us.
I'm the more I grow up, the more I think that it might be tiptoeing on the offensive line. But Yeah.
I
mean,
completely agree with you though.
That's exactly where to live, though. It's right in between.
Yeah.
Right on the line.
I've like not done a good enough job of the burner thing so that they don't know that I'm American. So they definitely know I'm American, but I'm well worked into the London, Twitter scene. And I base it on Spurs, and they chant every week, So I'm gonna take it. I think I'm cool. I think we're safe.
I'm
You're
happy.
in.
I'm happy you brought that up though, because when I was revamping my Twitter, I was like, I can't change my username at all because Hoover's is so good. Anything else is just subpar. So
Yeah.
Nothing will match that.
I tried the burner for a little bit, and then I finally just like made the profile picture of myself, and I was like, I'm just accepting all of my takes from here on out. People are gonna get who I am from here on out.
Yeah.
My picture's literally me and my buddy standing with the Leverkusen mascot.
I took the picture.
Oh, yeah, you did take the picture. Standing with the Leverkusen mascot at the preseason game we had, first game at City Park, and I put the little smiley face emojis over me and my buddy because I'm a burner or something. But
I made a burner because I responded to something from like my @HenryWind account, and someone brought up Paige on Twitter. Someone I didn't know said something about Paige, and I was like, "This is too much." Like I gotta.
You can't know me.
Yeah,
You can't know me.
I think if you go to my @HenryWind Twitter, I think it was the last thing I tweeted. Like I've never mentioned anything from that Twitter ever again. I was like, "This is too much." So I got the United burner for sure.
Oh, yes. God, it feels good to be back with the fellas. All right. First thing we're going to rip tonight. We did rip this on Friday. Dobes and I did the Mecca moments. But now that we got all 6 of us here, we definitely need to talk about it. The whole world knows that Jurgen Klopp is out of Liverpool in June. He's going to take a year off from coaching in general, is what he said. He's not going to go to any club, any country, be with his wife, enjoy his life. But first thing I want to ask you guys is like, you 4 especially, I know Dobes and I kind of gave our thoughts. You 4 kind of kick us off. What is on your mind, or what was on your mind when you got the news that he was leaving? And then what do you think his like thoughts are right now with this whole spiel?
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was almost in tears. I was so sad about it, man.
No, my
But
God.
in all
Darn
reality,
it.
in all reality, I could not care less. I just think
thank you, God.
Dude, when I saw the tweet, do you remember that one screenshot of Hoover when one of us were talking on the pod and Hoover was sitting there like, that was literally me. I was reading the tweet being like, let's go. I was stoked.
if you look at any podcast episode and you watch everybody else's face when one of us is talking about our clubs, like that's exactly how I felt hearing that, because we all don't give a shit about what's going on with each other's clubs, right? We just listen and banter when we can. But in all seriousness, I think that the timing for the club was awful. With it happening in the January transfer window, that your manager of so long announcing that he's leaving affects the way that club is able to do business the rest of the season and over the summer. I don't know how it'll work with how soon they'll announce who their next manager is going to be, but until they do that, they can pretty much put all transfer conversations on halt, because no player that's going to go to a team of that caliber is going to want to commit to something with not knowing who they're going to play for.
Totally.
And I think most of us experience that at some point in college with a coach changeover. You have to impress a new guy who may not necessarily have been recruiting
Yes,
you.
Hoover. Yes.
But I know that we did, at least.
Yeah, totally.
Us Maryville guys did, several times. So, yeah, if I'm a player looking to make a big move to the Premier League, like Liverpool is one of the last places I'm looking right now. So
100%.
timing couldn't have been worse.
Yeah.
I'm shocked it didn't happen last year.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like
7-year rule.
I literally think that's the only reason, is because like there was all that 7-year Klopp thing. I think that's the only reason why he didn't
Oh, that
leave
he
at
just
the end of
stinks
last year.
after
Yeah,
7 years? Yeah.
Genuinely. Like
Yeah.
I think that's the reason. And whatever. They're sitting wherever they're sitting. They might still be in first. I don't remember. Like they're sitting where they're sitting, halfway through the season. That's all fine and dandy. But I also think at the same time, like last year was the time to kind of get out, let them rebuild. Without the expectation of playing in the Champions League, without the expectation of carrying the weight. And I think literally the only reason why I didn't get out in June of last year was because of the 7-year thing. I think that's the only reason.
I
So
mean, you guys said it, like Wink said it. Big Verge is on the ropes.
yeah,
Like,
no,
literally one of the first
Bro,
quotes that
stop
comes
the
so
out.
no,
Stop.
no,
Big
Stop
Verge.
capping.
it's Van Dyke and Salah,
he
bro.
said it
Like,
himself. Like
He's
it's not like we're not
it's
making up news. He
Yeah.
came out and
Change of
said
guard.
that.
and this isn't my own thought. This is, Mark Goldbridge said this, but like I think what's surprising about it is, Klopp puts this huge emphasis in like quote unquote rebuilding the midfield in the summer because he wants to continue to like push for titles. He made this whole stink about like recruiting on these players just for him to leave at the end of the season. Like it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, I feel like, Nick can speak to this and we certainly can speak to this about like having players in your team that head coach did not recruit. And so now you're going to be stuck with this midfield. Not saying that they're terrible players, but you're stuck with the midfield that maybe the next guy doesn't even want. But we just brought in, like, you just brought in, like, Szoboszlai, you just brought in Endo, like, you just brought in McAllister. Maybe this next coach doesn't want them, but because Klopp didn't get out and then made all these signings, like, it could stifle Liverpool for a couple of years. And I do think Van Dijk's going to leave. I do think Salah's going to leave. Like, I don't know. I think that it's going to be big shoes to fill, and it's not going to be good.
The most concerning thing to me, and it's not even the fact that he's leaving. I'm happy, but I do think the timing is the timing on purpose, because if we just look at, we're going to get to Xavi later, but if you just look at Xavi's leaving, Klopp's leaving. There's rumors that Tuchel's going to leave. So that's 3 of the top 5 biggest clubs in the world that are going to need coaches. So I think he went out, and maybe it's because the ownership group made him do it or not, but they have to make their stance that Klopp's not going to be back to go out and get a Xabi Alonso, to go out and get a Luis Enrique, to go out and get their next guy, because right now, like, Bayern's going to be a huge job. Barcelona's a massive job. Like, Liverpool's a massive job. All these clubs are going to need coaches, and if you don't, like, Klopp doesn't leave now, they're going to be just even farther back behind than they already were, if that makes sense.
Wink said it, and like I felt the exact same way. I could not have cared less, truthfully. Like I read the announcement, giggled when he was saying, "I'm just tired. I don't have it with me in the club anymore." His fucking Jurgen type attitude towards all of it. But like I was like, this is funny. They're gonna get Xabi Alonso. Everyone in England is overreacting. This isn't that big of a deal. Like, they're going to get somebody good. Like, that's why I thought this has all been so wild and blown out of proportion. Like, you've read stories of, like, parents on Facebook. Like, I ran into my second-year son's class, and I had to tell him the news myself, but some of the other boys had already told him. We just broke down in tears in the hallway. And, like, they've just have these
Grow
sob
up,
They have these sob stories about this guy, which... accomplished manager. I'm willing to accept that. And I really don't have anything against the guy other than the fact that I think he's a whiner.
Yeah.
But like
Confirmed whiner.
Confirmed whiner.
You're gonna get
Not the biggest whiner out of all of our coaches.
you're gonna get somebody else.
Confirmed the biggest out of all. Confirmed the biggest out of all.
Bigger than Arteta?
I was going to say.
Complaining about the grass being too wet.
So that was why I was like, this is not a big deal. They're gonna get somebody sick. Xabi Alonso hasn't lost a game this year.
Yeah.
And like he's a Liverpool legend. Like he wants that job. There's no way he doesn't. He also, now that
Real
we're
Madrid.
seeing these people leave their clubs, like he could go to Real Madrid. He could go to Barcelona. Like now there's competition. When it first came out, we didn't know that Xavi was leaving Barcelona, but you're gonna get somebody. I'm just not. That's why I'm not worried about Liverpool. I've never worried about them because they've always been fine. But
Yeah.
Biggest concern is it's a complete overhaul.
Yep.
Like it's
Yeah,
the
for sure.
director, it's all the assistant
Yeah, we
coaches.
haven't even talked
That's
about
the
that.
biggest
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah,
It's the direct overhaul of all of it. The way of playing, everything changes. I don't know, man.
Well, here's one of my thoughts on what Henry said about players leaving. I could see Salah going to maybe Saudi Arabia or somewhere, or basically getting a massive payday. He'll be 32 this summer. So, I mean, he's hitting that stage of the career where it's like you get one more big move out of you, maybe not a great league, but you'll get a big payday, right? I don't think Van Dijk would leave, but he maybe could. But
how old's Van Dijk?
he'll be 33 in July.
Oh damn.
Bro, go to Madrid for like 2 years.
Well,
Go play at a big club somewhere.
Well,
you know?
here's
Yeah.
You're lucky my arms can't reach. Listen. There's a few guys that I do agree with what Henry said about some players might not be wanted by the new coach. I don't think Szoboszlai is one of them. I think he's a generational
Yeah,
player.
I think it was
He'll
just
stay.
using.
I think McAllister would stay. I think he's good enough. Any coach would want him in their team. He's had a good year.
Yeah,
I
was just like using the example of just like
Yeah.
there's good players. I mean, even on United, like there was good players that like Mourinho came into the club and was like, "Don't want you." Doesn't mean that they're a bad player. It just doesn't fit the philosophy. And I think that
Heavy metal pressing style that Klopp plays.
yeah, and you don't know who that next person's going to come in. And like with all due respect to McAllister and Endo, like they're not like the most beautiful passers of the ball ever. And so you get someone who wants to play super possession based and have those like 6s, 8s on the ball all the time. Like they're just not that. They're just not those guys. So like, it's not saying that they're bad players or that like other teams wouldn't want them, but like,
I'll take Soboslai.
yeah, like you just don't know what these coaches have the philosophies in. Like Enrique chose not to bring certain people to Spain's World Cup team. That we were like, why is he choosing that? But
That was his own downfall too.
Yep.
truth.
Yeah. Well, here's my next question on this topic, and who've already mentioned Xabi Alonso. Does anybody have another manager that they think would take over the reins that's not Xabi Alonso? Because I think the whole world is kind of thinking it.
Yeah.
I think there's a few.
Well,
to be honest.
I think the thing is Dobes' point is true of like when you look at the teams, everyone's going after the same 5 guys. So you have De Zerbi, you have Xabi Alonso, you have Zidane who's still floating around, you have Luis Enrique who's still floating around.
Butch would freak
Nagelsmann's-
out if they
Yeah,
got Enrique.
Nagelsmann's floating around.
Nagelsmann's only committed with Germany to the end of the Euros.
So like, yeah, there's 5 coaches right there that, all of these teams are going to be going after. But the point is with like the complete overhaul, it's not just going to be the head coach signing. So like they'd have to go out and get a director of football. They'd have to be the guy who can like be that chief operations guy, and it matches up with the style of play. So I don't know. I think all 5 of them would do fine. All 5 of them would do, some might do better than others, but all 5 of those guys would do great with the job.
I think a Nagelsmann Klopp flip flop would be
Very similar.
Would be wild.
Yeah.
Very similar.
But also, yeah, would kind of keep them on track.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot about Zidane. I would take him.
Oh,
in a
I forgot
heartbeat.
too.
I really think he's going to end up back at Real Madrid.
I know,
He could go back to
He
Madrid.
just seems like he's a guy. I'm going to take a few years off, won a couple Champions League. I'll be back in 10 years.
US
Like,
men's
he
national
can
team.
do that. They'll
And
take
do
him
the
in a
exact same
heartbeat.
thing.
100%.
Give me Zidane at the U.S. men's national team.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Inject it.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
we don't want Thierry Henry. My man has a terrible track record.
He's
He's a
horrible as a
horrible, world-class striker. Give it to him.
Yeah.
Manager. Shit.
We haven't even thrown out
Stevie G
Stevie
just
G.
locked
I was
in.
about
He
to
just
say.
sold his soul to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So we're not worried about it.
I like watching Thierry Henry on.
I would rather him as
TT,
a
man.
as a commentator.
All day.
But do you think there's any, and we texted about this, but I want to do like, if you had to pick, and I know this isn't between the two, like Xavi's available, both Xabi and Xavi are available. Like, do you have a preference on the two? Because I really do think like he's an option now that he's gone. Like, I do think he's an option for a coach to potentially bring in. It's a
want
different change of style, but
Alonso.
yeah.
How could you not?
I'm just watching. I talked to Dobes on this the other day. I watched that Leipzig game. When you watch them pass the ball, it's absurd.
It's like FIFA, bro.
Yes.
They score FIFA goals.
Yeah.
It's
when I'm
absurd.
playing on semi-pro. Like,
Yes,
The
bro.
one comparison I'll give you, and I know that the Bundesliga and the Scottish League aren't the same, but like I watched like a Gerrard Rangers team like be world beaters,
Mm-hmm.
and then he came to the Prem and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only concern you potentially have with Xabi is like Leverkusen is like there's no expectations for Leverkusen right now. Like if they bottle the league and Bayern wins, Bayern probably should have won the league.
Yeah.
But he comes to Liverpool with instant expectations of top 4, Champions League, win the league. Like
Yeah.
that's a whole different ball
Title
game than
challenger.
Leverkusen.
Yeah.
My last question on this topic before we move on. Oh, Nick, you want to pop off?
Well, we haven't really talked about your takes on the Mecca moments, and I kind of wanted to bring one up
Go ahead.
because I thought you had I wouldn't say outrageous take, but you seem to hold Klopp and a lot of Liverpool fans at a really high standard in your club that he's accomplished all of these things. And would you agree on that?
What trophy has he not won?
No, I'm in agreement. But since he came in 2015, you guys have won all these trophies. Would you say that this is some of the best Liverpool you've seen?
After 12 to 15 years of shit, yeah.
And like in history
Are
compared
you
to
ready
everywhere.
for 12 to 15 years of shit now?
Shit.
The only reason I bring this up is because I feel like in that time frame, yes, he accomplished a lot, but if we're comparing it to other clubs like a Chelsea who's currently in 10th, we've won the exact same amount of trophies as you from 2015, and even a Europa League and another Premier League title
With random managers.
7 different managers.
With random managers.
You also
7 different managers.
You also spent $1 billion on players.
Yeah, that's true.
$1 billion.
But I thought there was more other managers that you guys held higher than Klopp.
$1 billion.
That isn't the question that I was asking.
If you have a war chest of $1 billion,
Recency bias, Todd Bowley. Todd before
Yeah,
pre-
a
Todd Bowley.
Todd Bowley hasn't won any of those titles that I just
Bro,
named.
count.
Abramovich owns half of Urzikstan or whatever it's called, bro.
Yeah, and he won the same amount of trophies as Klopp.
Just because he was a war criminal doesn't mean he was a bad owner.
That's where I was a little confused because I was thinking all this history of Liverpool and all the titles that you won back then. I would think there was another manager that you would hold higher.
The connection to the club.
Kenny Dalglish.
The connection to the club, I think, definitely means.
I
a
agree.
ton.
Well, I mean,
I agree.
That
honestly,
He
means
changed
so
the
much.
culture of
Yeah.
Liverpool
The
from bad.
the thing
to,
is that like Klopp was great for Liverpool. I will say that in this day and age, we're so used to seeing managers get sacked. Like, so for a manager
Oh, I know.
on his own accord to say, I'm out, that's always going to evoke a little bit of like,
Nostalgia.
yeah, an emotion in the fan base. The thing is that like I kind of am picking up what Nicky's putting down, that in a couple of years, like, not saying anything bad about Klopp. Like, he did what he wanted to. He won the trophies, but like he's not up there with Pep. He is not up there with Sir Alex Ferguson. He is not up there in like these best ever. He's not there with Jose. Like, he's not one of those guys, but like for a couple of years, like, happy for you, man. You got 8 years of fun. I guess.
think
I had a manager for 8 years.
Yeah.
I think he's in the conversation for maybe a top 10 Premier League manager of all time.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Without a
Fine.
doubt.
He's up there for sure. But here's my last question on this topic before we move on. And I just want you guys to, quickly give me an answer. Where does Liverpool finish after this news?
Second.
Second.
I'm gonna say third.
Oh yeah. United's coming up. Let's go.
Okay.
Don't fucking do it, Hoof. Don't do it, man.
Give me first, man.
Don't do it.
Yeah! You can third these nuts.
I'm not ruling anybody out on a title race, but it would be, personally, a nice change of pace. North London wouldn't win anything. Good with it.
Again.
What about
Good with it.
Yeah.
Good with it.
What about
as long
Villa?
as long as they don't win, I'm good.
Villa.
Yeah,
The title.
I'm in
They'll
agreement
fall
with
off.
Hoove on that one.
But I don't definitely. There's no way. Okay, so January's over. There's no transfer window for guys to come in. It's over. They've got a squad, and they're still in first place.
Yeah.
Like we're looking at this the wrong way of like there's maybe a chemistry mix up. People might get pissed off, and we don't know where our place is next year. They're all gonna have the same common goal at the end of the day, which is why not? Like, why wouldn't we want to go and do this now?
I was also going to say, I
Ended
think
on
it
a high.
could be a motivating thing too. Like,
Sure,
we got to
yeah,
get him the
for
title
sure.
before he leaves.
For sure. And
God,
I'm
I'm already
think,
so sick of the headlines over the next 3 months.
I-
I'm like, they're
Yeah.
doing it for Klopp.
Gag
Shut
me,
up. I
gag
told
me.
you guys
Dude.
this. It's like the one thing I hate more than anything. It was like I may have to delete Twitter if every time that they're at Anfield, there's nothing but like crying tears for Klopp.
Oh.
It-
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
annoying.
I said this on the last pop. But Mike Krzyzewski said he was going to retire at Duke, so that he went out and everybody gave him flowers at every away arena that he went to.
Yeah.
We're not doing that for Klopp. I don't
No.
give a shit that he's leaving. It's
Yeah.
like we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
If they came and played at City Park, we'd probably be giving them a lot of flowers.
I mean,
we-
hey,
we do that for
Carnell could
away
be picked
teams.
up by a European
Yeah,
team,
come-
and
yeah, you guys should
Klopp
go
could be
after
coming to-
Carnell.
yeah.
No kidding.
I'd rather see the Klopp headlines than see this in the freaking dugout every day.
The thumb.
The Spy Kids
thumb.
thumb looking ass. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up on Liverpool. We're gonna move on real
Thank
quick. More breaking news in the world of football is Xavi from Barcelona announced he will resign in June, same time as Klopp, after a very embarrassing and slightly controversial VAR incident at the end. 5-3 loss to Villarreal. Barcelona are in the slumps. They're, I want to say, 13, 12 points off the league leaders, Girona. Shout out Girona.
Yep.
And
owned by the City Group. Not impressed.
Barada guy, man.
Yeah,
But,
that Barada
hey,
guy, he knows what he's doing.
listen,
Ooh.
our entire lives, we grew up idolizing the way Barcelona played. I mean, there's a
Yep.
style of play named after what they've done since 2009, right? a lot of those players are some of our favorite players to ever play soccer. And we love what they've done in changing, revolutionizing the game. But Barcelona's not the same. And Xavi said he wants to get out because he feels that he's not the man anymore to basically keep these principles in line. What do you guys think?
I have 2 questions. Did he win something with Barcelona?
Yes, he won La Liga.
They won the league last year.
Okay, that's what I thought. Question number 2. Who was the manager of Barcelona Villa during the tiki-taka era?
Pep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
This man knows ball, ladies and gentlemen. He
They
knows
had some
ball.
Luis Enrique in
I was
there,
gonna
too.
say when was Luis Enrique's
And
tenure?
they played it too. They played the same style.
They
yeah.
played the same style,
Yeah.
but like Pep's gone and transformed everything that's ever happened. But the tiki-taka style that we know, to me, isn't as sustainable as it once was.
Mhm.
Like every sort of style and system that you ever have seen at some point
It
becomes
rotates,
played
yeah.
out. So that was where I was leading with that second question, was like they played that unbelievably beautiful football. And you're right, some of our best favorite players ever played for those teams, and they were the most fun team in the world to watch. But at some point, you have to adjust and you have to adapt and you have to become a different team.
Pep did
and-
at City.
Yeah,
And,
Pep
and
adjusted.
Pep's done at
did
City. Yeah.
exactly that at City.
Inverted wingbacks, baby.
Yep.
Exactly
Rico
that.
Lewis.
So my thought and opinion on this too is very similar to Liverpool. They're gonna be fine. It's literally the most attractive job in Europe. You're gonna get the highest quality candidates for that position. There's a lot of pressure, which I think we're seeing now. Like, he was there year and a half, 2 years.
Oh,
And
two,
weren't-
2 years.
Where did they
years.
finish last year?
They won
They
the
won
league.
last
They
year.
won the league.
So like, it's not like winning La Liga is a big deal, but you have like 1, maybe 2 teams that you have to worry about, and you have to beat them, and you have to beat everybody else. So
Mhm.
it's worthy of noting that he did win it, because if you don't win it at Barcelona, you're a failure.
Yeah.
Like, that's just straight up what it is. So my thoughts are the same. He's going to be fine. They're going to be fine. He's going to go somewhere else that may fit the system and style better, and they're going to pull in another world-class manager. Like,
Yeah.
no one's worried about that.
I personally think that he got dealt a really, really tough hand. Understanding like
The money?
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
bro,
the turmoil
I'm-
that's in that club right now.
They're in a worse place than United is.
they are,
Like,
and the thing
100%.
is that like when I look at that lineup, right? Like it's not like they just have bums on that team, but like especially the last few weeks, if you've looked at their lineups that they've been putting out and the lineups that they've had on the bench, I mean, I'm talking multiple, like 4 to 5, 17, 16, maybe 18-year-old kids, because like they don't. Yes, and they
Yeah,
like
I'm a
they
baller.
legitimately don't have any money to bring in anyone. So like the whole club has just gone in the shitter since, for a long time, and it was masked for a long time because of Messi. Messi was able to carry them and was able to do all of that. But like the thing is the club is so shambolic. And I think that Xavi's been a little hard done. I mean, to win the league last year, obviously the Champions League, they got knocked out super early. They played in the Europa League. Who'd they lose to, Dobes, in the Europa last
I
year?
can't remember.
Oh, boo.
Manchester United, Anthony.
bro.
Anthony.
Talking about how much in shambles Barcelona's been, and then celebrating that
Yeah,
they
but
beat
after
them
they,
in
yeah,
the
but,
Europa
yeah, but
League.
they're
But
arguably the best team in
is
Europe
wild.
last year.
Yeah, but the thing is so
From a
like
United fan,
you
too,
you
Wings.
win a La Liga, and yes, you're having a down year this year for a lot of reasons, but like you didn't get to reinforce the squad. Yes, you did some loans with Felix and Cancelo, like sure, but like it's just the normal ups and downs of a team. And I just think that clubs nowadays are getting more and more ruthless of like you go through a 2-month period of bad and all of a sudden like clubs are calling for your head. Like even Xavi in his press conference was like, this is the hardest job in all of football because as soon as you lose, the fans completely turn on you. And Xavi's a legend of the club. Like he's not just some random guy. And like it wasn't so long ago that like the coaches previous to Xavi, they were horrendous. They were so bad. Ronald Koeman was their manager for a little bit, was atrocious. I can't even remember the Spanish guy after Koeman before Xavi, but like,
Setien.
yeah, it was terrible. Like,
Bum.
yeah, just like played terrible football. And like what I can't defend, truthfully, is what some of these players are doing on the pitch, like the manner in which they lost this game this weekend. If you
It was horrific.
if you watch the fourth goal that they lost the game on the 5th goal. Honestly, doesn't matter because they were going for the tie, whatever. But like the 4th goal that they gave up, my jaw was on the floor because of like the 3 errors that led to that goal. Like you just can't excuse that. Like that has nothing to do with Xavi. But at the same time, they played against Real Madrid in the Supercopa final or whatever it was, and he tried to play a high line inside of their own half. It made no sense against Vinny. Like, so there is tactical stuff that Xavi has gotten wrong, but like the majority of it is the players have been horrendous this year, and I think it's pretty hard done. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in a couple of years and coaches them again. He's still so young, but
I say he was quick right after he retired from
yeah,
playing.
yeah,
to, like,
he went
get a
right into
coaching
it.
job.
Dude had at least 15 minutes a game in those legs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was about to say I wanted to
He
see
could
him
have
going
subbed
on.
himself in, and he would
100% player
been
manager.
fine.
To me, he like it's almost like he is just not wanting anything to deal with it anymore.
I think that's what it
I get that
is.
perception of him stepping away like this. I think he's just done.
Yeah,
He wants
yeah.
to wash his hands.
It's a circus. He's a legend of the club. I think he doesn't want to be that person that took over Barcelona and then they went back to shit. I think he's just kind of like, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with this anymore.
He doesn't want
Like
to be the scapegoat.
I was gonna say he doesn't want to be the Frankie Lampard.
But that's very rarely. Like I mean, you look at the track record. Very rarely do ex players take over their club and it work out. Like
Yeah.
it's very difficult to make that happen. And I think I think he's just sick of it. I think he wants nothing to do with the media. He wants nothing to do with anything that's going on with Barcelona. He realizes it's a shit show and just wants out before his reputation's like
100%.
tarnished.
Yeah.
Good shout.
I agree with you, Henry, though. I think that, you know, if he were to come back in a couple years, I feel like a lot of the best managers that we've seen in prior years have gone through a spell where the team that they managed did really poorly. So
Totally.
I think that as a manager, he's going to be so much better off for having gone through this experience. And obviously it'll affect the way that he manages clubs in the future. But yeah, if he were to come back, I wouldn't be surprised if Barcelona just went on a tear once they got their balance sheet figured out.
Similar to the Klopp thing. We're just seeing a lot of clubs or a lot of fans even like looking at the whole club structure rather than just the head coach. Like it's no surprise that club is shambolic at the moment. I mean, they're so financially fucked. Like forget financial fair play. They're just financially fucked. It's just like it's so bad.
You got to sell the naming rights to the Camp Nou
twice.
You kind of know that. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're in
something's
some
going
shit.
down.
right. So like, yeah, I mean, it's not this
Camp Nou,
easy. Like
too,
we
like
can't
that.
just like press a button and it be over. But like Barcelona, I think next year just has to accept that they're rebuilding. I think they sell off any asset they have player wise, put a young team out there or like loans and just try to build it back.
So when does your pitch for getting Frankie De Jong to United start?
Yesterday.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
it
say,
started-
Jesus
Oh my
Christ!
God.
The moment he
But-
started
but-
saying
but a
that,
year
I
and
was
a
like,
half
he's
ago.
gonna
But
start
the
it
thing
again.
is
I'm over
Frankie
Frankie.
is
I
not.
was gonna say, Dobes is even over. it.
Frankie
You've
is
been
not
talking
going
about
to
it
come
so
to
much.
United. If he leaves Barcelona, which he very well may, it'll be to like City or wherever Pep is.
I don't know.
be
I started
scary.
laughing because we talked about the Spotify naming rights. It's just funny that Barcelona are wearing the Rolling Stones logo on the middle of their
Yeah, like,
jersey
what are they
to
doing,
make sure they have
bro?
money.
They need money,
It is
bro.
cool. No, it's very cool, but just the fact they're doing that so they can buy players is
Yeah, football attitude.
Yeah, that's legendary.
Yeah, attitude.
Drake's logo.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on, anybody have a hot take? Who takes over this job in the summer of 2024?
I don't
this
know
year?
who wants it.
I've been seeing a lot of Thiago Motta from Bologna in Italy. Another former player. I think it's of everyone that I've seen, it's the least high profile person, and I think that's a move that they make. Whether it's him or someone who's like pretty low profile, I think the elephant in the room, they don't have any money for a
Yeah,
manager.
that's the kicker.
So like they're gonna have to get someone who's pretty like not established in their career. Maybe
a De Zerbi.
I have a really hot take.
That-
De Zerbi is
Deserby would be great.
he is doing it right now at Brighton.
Yep.
First off,
Potter.
like those
Yeah,
guys don't.
that's what the same. It's the same
Potter,
thing. It's the
yeah,
big-
those
moving to
guys-
a big club.
Those guys don't have a ton of the cash. Their scouting team is obscene, and
Yeah.
he still doesn't speak English. So,
Yeah.
like De Zerbi, this is all setting up pretty well for the guy.
There's also an up and coming manager in Wildwood, Missouri. Ryan Butchart
Hey,
speaks
good
the
call
language.
up.
Yeah.
Speaks the language.
I'm going to go with a really hot take here, fellas. City's going to win the league. And I think that Pep Guardiola is a possibility. It's January 29th, 2024.
Clip it.
That's
Clip
a
it,
wild
clip
take.
it.
Wait.
I do think
I don't-
I do think crazier things have happened.
I was
They're
about-
gonna
I
go to
don't
League
hate
2, so that all
That-
maybe makes
I don't hate
Bruh.
it. No, I'm
They
saying I don't hate it.
out.
I don't hate that take.
I love that take. That would be lit.
How cool would that be?
That
to be
would-
honest?
that would
That'd
be-
be
oh.
so sick.
That would be lit.
Unless they don't have any money because he's kind of been reliant recently on money. So.
Yeah.
just
for a while.
Just a foreign state.
See,
to-
but then City have to sign a manager, and then it just becomes this whole cycle of like now there's 15 of the top 20 teams don't have
Totally.
managers.
I mean, there's been
everybody's just shuffling.
Yeah, so many times in the last couple of years where there's been a job open and no managers to fill that job. Like, this is not one of
This
those
is the right
times
time,
where,
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of big clubs available.
Moving on to our last little piece of, I want to call it quote unquote breaking news. A few days ago, Marcus Rashford was out late at the club with definitely had a couple of shorties, definitely had a few Coca-Colas, and he showed up. He got home late, fellas.
First off, he didn't get home.
Yeah, he got home late.
So it's perfect transition to the United corner this
yeah.
week.
And our United
camera.
corner, our United corner over here, breakdown. You know, is Marcus Rashford? Is he wasting his career right now? Like, here's my thought. This dude scored 30-something goals last year,
Mhm.
and he's having a shit season. We
Mhm.
all know it. Why would you not want more? Is he wasting away his potential? Do you guys think? Is he wanting an exit? What's going on?
I think like Henry just can't handle his alcohol. You can't be out late with the boys if you can't get up with
real,
the men
bro.
in the
And
morning.
I'll let Hen's like a Rashford truther, so I'll let
Yeah,
I'll let him
Rashford
go first,
truther,
and then
bro.
I'll give my thoughts here.
Everything that we have to say is pure speculation. Like, we obviously don't know him. I'm super disappointed, honestly. Like, obviously Marcus has been like one of, if not my favorite player for years now. I'm wearing his jersey at the moment. Love that guy. But like, when I looked at this situation, I try to think about like, that's not Marcus Rashford. I thought about like literally one of my teammates or someone that I work with doing that. And I would be like, you fucking idiot. Like, what are you doing? Like, if one of my teammates in college did that and like didn't show up to training because they were hungover or whatever, I'd be pissed.
That happened.
It
Bro,
happened.
I'd
probably show up at the door.
I'll tell you though, I'd still dap him up if he brought home a rocket.
Oh my
word. America's future, ladies and
High school
gentlemen.
Spanish teacher.
Yeah, high school Spanish teacher.
Priorities.
fuck me.
Priorities. From
But I was so disappointed in it. But the thing is like, so you just can't do that, right? Like, no one needs to explain that you can't go out on a Wednesday and a Thursday and then call in Friday morning to miss training and expect it to be okay. You also, as one of the most famous footballers in England, you can't go out to a club and think it's okay. Like, you're going to get recognized, you're going to get photos, and so the disappointment is through the roof. Like, with the incident, terrible look.
And
Now,
I thought it's wild because of like, even like you were just saying him as a player, but like even his off field before all of this was always so great, and like you heard nothing but great
Yeah.
things about him. So like that was one thing that took me a little bit.
Couple zeros added to your bank account.
So
Completely
that, so
changed.
that,
He got his
that-
deal.
That's
He
the
got
big
his deal.
thing that I was just gonna say. So like the big thing that's different between last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago is he was still quote unquote proving himself, and he had an exceptional year last year. And the narrative around him, great year last year. He's United through and through, came through the academy. Of course, we were going to give him that deal. And even when he got the deal, there were so many fans that were like, he hasn't earned that. When you look at like how much he's
It's our
being
highest
paid,
earner. Like, I think 350.
yeah, when you look at how much he's being paid in relation to the rest of the Premier League, I mean, you wouldn't put him in that conversation for what should be highest earner. If he went from Manchester United to a different club, he wouldn't be making that. He's making that much because he's United through and through. He got the bag, and from the outside looking in, all you can say is it looked like he just kind of stopped trying. Like, he's 25, 26, somewhere in that range, and he stopped trying. It's so difficult to watch week over week, regardless of this situation. It's so hard to watch that week over week. But then you see this situation and you just like, if I were in the club, if I were one of his in the club, meaning Manchester United, not in the club as in, in the club, I want to specify for this conversation right now.
What's up, 50 Cent?
If
A
I
little-
would
Be
little
at
Dra-
both. He would be at
little,
both.
little Drake on. You never know what's gonna happen.
hey, what I can't comprehend is I couldn't imagine sharing a dressing room with him and letting that fly. Like I can't imagine that, and it causes me obviously we're looking at Marcus, obviously, but then I'm also curious, like what the fuck is going on in that dressing room with like the Sancho situation, the leaks last year, the Rashford situation. It just like it reeks of a lack of discipline inside of the club. But like, I don't know, of course you get all of these clips from Keane and Rio Ferdinand and Wayne Rooney and all of these guys talking about if that ever happened, you know, so and so would be yelling at so and so, and it's like, I get that, but where's the leadership in the dressing room to like call that out?
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
me.
so disappointing.
That's the biggest concern for me. It's Marcus is one of those guys who has more than anybody gotten the benefit of the doubt.
Totally.
Hoover, go ahead.
Oh, Winks.
Yeah. So if he was in my club, I'd probably feel the exact same way. But we've talked over the last several years of his philanthropic, duties to his country, but also just like what he's done, outside of the game of football, but still for the game of football or for kids. And so he does all of this stuff to like really build his reputation up high. Had a great season, the last couple seasons, done really well. Guy's been struggling this year. There's no, that's no secret. And so I could see it also being just like a very siloed situation where like the club's in a bit of shambles right now. They're still trying to figure out some stuff. He's still trying to figure out his own stuff. Maybe this was just a one incident case where he just like needed to blow off some steam for a week.
But I
and
think
again, not acceptable, not condoning it, but I also feel for him that like he's done so much for the game already at his age and outside of the game and has done really well. It is kind of tough timing with his big payday.
I think the issue is the chain of events. So Wednesday he goes out.
Thursday's an off day.
It's well
But he's allowed to
documented
go
that
out Wednesday night.
Thursday's
Yeah.
an off day. He goes out, and then United are made to believe that he goes out Wednesday because that's what they talked about. And then he says nothing about going out Thursday. He's not truthful about where he is on Thursday, and then calls in Friday morning saying he's sick, when in reality he goes out both nights. And mind you, this wasn't going out in downtown Manchester. He was going out in
Belfast.
Yeah, in Belfast, which is not an hour away.
It's like a private jet Friday morning.
Yeah, so like that's the issue where it's like you need to go out and like blow off some steam 100%. Like I think that footballers nowadays get criticized for far less than that. I'm so with that. Like you need to just like go have a night. Fuck yeah, dude, absolutely. But it's the lack of professionalism, knowing that you have training the next day, to not respect the club and respect the fans enough to just do your job. Like that's what gets me, bro. Like
how far away is the Etihad from Old Trafford?
It's like a few miles, if that.
Okay, so from now on, if Rashford wants to go out, he needs to go out with Jack Grealish because that guy because that guy goes out like crazy, but still shows up for training the next day.
100%.
So if he's going to continue this trend, he at least needs to find a good buddy to do it with.
I don't even care if he finds a good buddy. To me, the entire situation is the fact of like, you're making $350,000
Yeah,
a week.
that number's insane.
You're making You deserve to go out. You deserve to have fun if you're performing and scoring goals.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't want an apology from Rashford. I want him to show up on Thursday and show Marcus Rashford that's making $350,000 a week. And if he doesn't get back to that, I love Marcus just like more than anybody on the United roster because of the type of person he is. But if he doesn't get back to that, walk away.
Same.
Leave.
I-
Go to
yeah.
Paris. Go out all you want. Make your money and leave the club.
There's so many things that you guys have said that I've quickly drawn some thoughts on. One, Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney, Keane, all those guys can blow hard because
Degenerates.
they did that
Yeah.
shit, bro. They were doing that.
But
the
then-
only issue is they showed up to training.
Yes.
Like that's
And
literally the only thing
And
that is cutting
most
this
of the
different.
time then all of that stuff is dealt with like internally.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Keno and those guys back then, like if you were late for training, you tossed X amount of your salary into a pool, you heard it from them, and then that pool was used for night out when the league was over.
Yeah.
Like that's how it was dealt with. Nowadays it's like just like Hen said, there's going to be cameras everywhere.
It's the social media. We don't have to go down that path. It's just the social media.
Even if you go into clubs where like they do take your phone because those do exist, you're Marcus Rashford.
He's
Someone has a phone.
Clearly ignoring his publicist and PR person's information. But the one thing that I did want to say that it was a little bit of a wind up, but it almost feels like you guys need a Ronaldo in the dressing room.
No, bro.
See, the difference between all of it is the club already came out with a statement today that the matter's already been dealt with because Rashford apologized.
Mm-hmm.
Sancho and Ronaldo both didn't have the nutsack to apologize.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Rashford's available Thursday.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the squad because he got disciplined and he apologized. Now the thing is, if the behavior continues,
we don't know.
Wasn't that a rule, or when did that happen? One point
he overslept.
He
overslept. Last year.
and this is worse than that. But honestly, to me, this is Ten Hag saying we're going to fine you. We're going to keep this behind closed doors. One, because let's not pretend like we don't have striker issues right now. Like if we were to suspend Marcus Rashford, we are dealing with an 8-goal scorer, Haaland, who has 5 goals that are unassisted because he can't get service. Like, we're screwed without Marcus Rashford. So Ten Hag doesn't have a choice right now. It's like, we're going to discipline you, but at the same time, dude, like, you kind of have to play.
I want my club to deal with it the exact same way.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
Richie goes out and has himself a weekend. Like, you come back, there's no level of discipline that you can invoke right then and there by keeping them out. Because the greater goal is points.
Yeah,
putting
winning.
points on the board. That's it.
Yeah.
If we won the treble and you go out, sure.
Do it.
Sure. Yeah. We're in 8th place and we're playing
Jackie
terrible
G's
football.
out.
Yeah.
You know, let that man go.
Yeah. Yeah, you already said it, but like if he was performing, if he was doing it, like I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff that's like, I actually don't really care too much about what players do off the field as long as you're performing. That if you're not performing, that's where you're going to get criticized all the time.
Do your job.
Like, you know, you have to do your job. And I think this is about going out in Belfast. This isn't about him as a whole, but like you just watch him play this season. It just looks like he just doesn't give a fuck. It's so hard.
It looks
to watch.
like he's willing to skip training.
Yeah, like I
like almost not shocked that it was.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I just feel like if I were in the dressing room with him, I would literally be like yelling at him, being like, just don't even bother fucking showing up if that's what you're gonna do. Like if you're gonna show up and not track back, like don't show up, don't come. Yeah. So yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there are brighter days for Marcus Rashford for the remainder of this calendar season, and for United's hopes of finishing in the places that you guys want to finish. You definitely need to have him firing on all cylinders.
Yes, sir.
All right. FA Cup, fellas. We've had quite a few FA Cup games, and it's pissed me off because we haven't seen much Prem.
It sucked.
But first game of the FA Cup fixtures we had was Chelsea-Aston Villa, 0-0 draw. That's actually not a bad draw for you, Nick.
No.
Wasn't it at home, though?
It was at home, and that's what I had on my list to talk about later that I'm scared about is us going now to Villa Park in the rematch because they've kind of built a little bit of a fortress over there in the last couple of games, I guess. But the game overall, the first half, we looked very good everywhere except inside the box. Like, Cole Palmer probably could have had a hat trick in the first 45 minutes of this game. He had 2 picks from pressing up high and wide open goals that he missed. And it's amplifying the thing that I've talked about for a very long time of us needing a striker, similarly to Manchester United.
The lights were too bright for Cold Palmer, turns out.
Absolutely. And it's
Which
something,
he's 21, so
yeah, and it's something that honestly I looked up and I saw on Twitter the other day was if you look at all of Cole's goals this year, a lot of them aren't under pressure. They're mainly pens or him having
scored 7 pens, and we're talking about him being generational now.
Well, he also has 11 assists to back it up as well. But
I think he's a good player.
He said,
But I expected him more to finish some of those chances, and it just kind of highlighted once again what I was saying. We don't have a proven goal scorer to finish some of these. Also, Martinez played out of his mind. I don't know if you guys watched. He was standing on his head for a lot of the saves. Sterling pissed me off again. He was more focused on getting nutmegs than scoring goals. I will say
The bogey special.
Yeah, he had like 3 megs, but like they were at half and they meant absolutely nothing. And he would pause and wait for 5 seconds to even perform the nutmeg. So that was definitely not great.
That's like what I do in indoor.
Yeah,
Before every game, I'm always like, all right, I'm going for
the
four,
good
4 megs.
takeaways that I had was Petrovic. I think he's been playing spectacularly since he's come into the side, and I think with him playing so well, I think there's actually competition for the first goalkeeper spot when Sanchez comes back. I also think Caicedo had like a sneaky, really good game as well. I think he's kind of been going under the radar with some of his performances of late. He's been playing really well for us, and then also Chilwell's back. He came in the second half and got some time, so I was super pumped about that. But similarly, like I was talking about earlier, am very nervous us going to Villa Park. And I did want to bring up the whole another fixture upon draw. Like, I think that's whack. I don't know what your guys' takes on it.
Bro.
I love it. I love it.
You guys love it, but we
It's the
talk
FA
about
Cup,
injuries. We talk about all of this
What
game
does Chelsea
congestion.
have to do, man?
No, I'm talking like, why can't it just go into overtime? Like, why can't we just finish the game there? Why does it
It's
have to have
nostalgia.
another
FA Cup.
game?
It's nostalgia. It's the FA Cup.
Yeah, I just that's one thing I was like, okay, I guess we have to do a whole nother fixture that possibly could cause injuries. I don't know. Something that I wanted to bring up, but we move and we're still fighting for a trophy at least. So
Facts. All right. On to Tottenham 1-0 loss to Man City.
Look at that
A
face.
very very late
can we zoom
goal.
in on that?
Very late goal from Ake, man. Vicario just fumbled.
I tell you what, yeah, it was a tough look for Vicario for sure. But the number one thing that I'm the most upset with is how heavily financially dependent I was on 3 goals. And that did not come to fruition.
Should have known better, man.
Dude, what do you mean? Every time we've watched these two teams play, it's like a
Back and forth and back and
blowout.
forth.
Spurs had like 7 guys out when they played in their like 4-game losing skid in the league, and then they come to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and no, it was at the Etihad.
Yeah.
It was 3-3.
Yeah.
Like, relax. That pissed me off so much. General thoughts. We're playing with a skeleton team, which I think gets it done against a lot of clubs. It's not gonna happen against City. KDB coming back in. I texted Dan Hornsey when he was subbing on, and I was like, "That's it, man. Like, that's wraps. That's game. There's nobody there to deal with him." It was good to see Matters come back for a little bit. That's always good. And yeah, I think someone in the Mecca said it last week, but like Ange getting Matters back is definitely like a whole new player type situation because they've done fine. They've been fine. They've been good. One of the games they should. Sucks to let Pep score a goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I think I might have jinxed you on that.
Yeah,
That's
my
my
streak,
bad.
streak's over.
It's okay. Yeah. I was talking to a lot of people. I learned the quote that I was gonna say last week that I just fumbled.
The
and it
immovable
was,
object one.
Meets it.
I Googled it
An
afterwards.
unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and it was
Inertia.
Man City scoring a goal at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium,
Yes.
or Tottenham Hotspur's like 25-year goal or trophy drought. So something was gonna end that day, and it did. It was not Vicario's shining moment, and I think everyone would agree how good he's been for how random of a pickup he was. But it was a bummer, and you can look at Ruben Diaz, or who was it? Was it Rodri who was throwing an elbow a little bit?
Yeah.
I personally didn't think it was a foul. But then Flan sends in,
I think that gets called in the middle of the
I
field.
think that gets called a lot.
Yeah, I think it gets called in the middle of the
Flan
field.
sent in the video of him doing that to Allison when they played in their fixture, and they called it. So, that wasn't the reason that they lost by any means. And if it goes to a reverse fixture, I have no faith, frankly. But yeah, it was just a bummer. It was lackluster. I thought City choked the life out of the game, which, if we're going to look at the two teams that were playing, they had to do that against Spurs. They don't necessarily do that against every other team. They will possess, they'll hold the ball, but then they'll penetrate and they'll find their weak spots. And it took an 85th minute corner for them to really have a good look in on net. So I thought it was well done from Pep. Ange isn't going to change things. So, I don't know why you would expect him to or hope that would happen. But Brennan Johnson is playing the role that I feel Brian Hill should be playing, which is your 70-minute, winger that comes in on the right to provide some pace and, some counterattacking ability. But we don't have enough players healthy at the moment to be able to have him and use him like that. So he's getting a lot of stick on Twitter and just in general, and you could see why. Like he's not a complete player, still super young. I do see a player in there, but Krupp made a good point in the group chat too that he was fantastic on a counterattacking Forest side. But when you're gonna have 60% possession most of the time outside of playing City, he's not as creative as you need him to be. Kulusevski off on the right obviously is more creative, just more of a dribbler in general. And when matters, just pulling the strings, everything's easier. But credit to them. I love Bernardo Silva so much. Couldn't tell you one thing he did that game.
Yep.
So they stifled him. Rodri is just like, I texted Hen and Dobes and was just like, my brain is melting by how good this guy is, and none of it goes noticed. It's just like small pass here, small pass there, body feint, pass out. His composure is second to none. His ability to find a pass between defenders with pressure, second to none. He can dump off a ball and then build and start an attack like with ease that nobody else can do. He was the game changer in my mind just because they were able to hold all that possession through him. It sucks. You're out of another trophy. Our next opportunity is the league, which, so that, from my point of view, we're looking at another trophyless season, but who expected Ange Postecoglou to come in and be the guy to be like, well, we're going to do it now. Like, this is the guy. So I see a future. I see, things building on him. It's just a bummer. You draw City in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Best bet is you beat them. They're probably going to be the hardest team you have to play for the rest of the cup. And that's a great win. You go on, you have a really good chance at it. But if they're still in that cup, like, nobody's safe. So
But I think even just with Sonny, I think that's a very winnable game for you guys.
Too. Yeah,
just Sonny as a threat on the counter would have changed that entire game.
Lacks so much creativity just in general. Timo Werner, man, like, hear me out.
He found some good spots.
I was about to ask.
And Nick said, I'm doubling down on Nick's takes from when he was even on Chelsea. The guy finds really impressive positions. He's fast. He gets in the air.
And he presses.
He presses really hard. I thought there were 4 or 5 times that someone could have found him on the far side, and he would have been, setting up an attack. But
kicking the ball 20 yards over the goal.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as he's not the last one to touch the ball, there's a good chance that you could create something. But without a lot of the creativity in the middle, Højbjerg, I know Butch likes Højbjerg, but he's not doing it for me. Consistent player, number 6, heavy-handed, good in a tackle. He takes years to decide what to do all the time, in my opinion. And the way that they've been playing, that's not the case. You got Bentancur making quick decisions. You got Basuma making quick decisions. Matters is the first one to find an incisive pass. He's not that guy, but I don't feel bad. I'm not wearing this one on the chin. You lose to City pretty much ever. You're like, City. So we move.
You failed to mention that Mickey Van de Ven is awesome. He's
fast
such a
as
good player,
shit.
bro.
I love him so much.
The
I love
announcers
Mickey
were
Van de
gassing
Ven.
him up so much.
I love Mickey Van de Ven so much. I love Destiny Udogie so much.
Udogi's a dog.
Yeah, he
Udogie's
is.
a dog, bro. You should hate them all because they're awesome. But no, we've got a back line that knows how to do things again. So that feels good. You hold City to an 85th minute corner 1-0 and lose 1-0. You
With
can't,
KDB.
you can't take that to the bank. Like,
Yeah.
Fair result, no Haaland, no Sonny.
Yep.
Full strength. I truthfully think that's one of the best matchups in the league.
Electric both
just
ways.
because-
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Neither of them are going to back down on their own philosophy.
Totally.
Like, it's going to be a 50-50 possession match, and there's going to be a ton of goals.
Did Pep say anything in the post match about scoring?
I don't know.
I didn't see anything.
He mentioned it earlier in the year, and they, I think it was like New Year's or Christmas, like what's on your Christmas wish list or whatever. And he's like, to score a goal at Tottenham. Like, he's like, I would like to do that. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny. But we move, everything's fine. I'm scared of Brentford. Whatever, it is what it is.
Whatever.
We're not going to say anything really about Liverpool. We've talked too much Liverpool today, but they won 5-2 over Norwich
Like
in the
words
FA
I
Cup.
thought I'd never hear you say.
Thank God. Moving
Too
on.
much.
Real quick, did Sargent play?
No, is he hurt?
I don't know. I just saw Norwich. I was at.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he might have been out of the squad, but 5-2 win for them. Our last FA Cup game of the day to talk about is
Huge
Manchester
matchup.
United
Huge.
against Newport.
Newport.
Newporties.
Anthony finds his level.
Yeah. League
Dude,
Two,
when he
baby.
got on his knees and prayed to God, I wanted to smack that
Brother.
More goal contributions in 2024 than Saka.
Saka hadn't played, bro.
There's a stat,
Hadn't
fellas.
played, bro.
By the way, Anthony was like the worst player on the pitch, and he had a goal assist. For when we start this little recap here versus Newport, you have to give like a shit ton of credit to Newport. Like that stadium, I think I saw something that the revenue that they gained from TV.
I was about to say it.
I think it was something like equal or more
To
than
0.5% of the
like
club.
to 50% of their entire club. So awesome for Newport. From a United perspective, when you look at that lineup on paper, again, bringing Anthony up, but besides Anthony, and I guess Rashford, even with Rashford's form, like that is pretty close to
We were so stoked before the game.
what I want our 11 to look like. It's Luke Shaw's back, Leach is back, Varane, Delo, a midfield two I've been wanting to see forever of Mano and Casemiro, Garnacho, Haaland, and then Anthony. And this game started out as exactly how it should. Up to nothing, game plan worked as a T. And to me, the biggest concern that we have with this club right now is we went up to nothing, and then it looked like we were up to nothing playing against Newport. And what I mean by that is we went up to nothing, all of a sudden it was like Anthony, every single chance that he had, he was looking for a goal. Garnacho, every single chance that he had, he was looking for a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno, not so much, but in the final third, the selfishness that we see from these players, it's just unbelievable that it happens at this level. But two, it's contagious. Like people don't realize that when people do that, it's contagious. Yep. When Anthony consistently cuts in and shoots, score one before you do it 10 times in a row.
Garnacho's going to stop making that run on the back post, and he's going to start shooting when he gets the ball.
You saw the same thing from Garnacho. I love Garnacho. You can definitely tell he's a teenager, but even him consistently. Haaland, who's not very animated, who's not very animated, screamed at him. I said the stat earlier, but Haaland has 8 goals this year, which I'm happy with as a 20-year-old. He gets to 15 by the end of the year. Great. 5 of the goals of the 8 have been unassisted this year. Mm-hmm. They've been him making something happen because guys don't cross the ball. Yeah. And I'm not talking about us playing Liverpool here. I'm not talking about us playing Chelsea. I'm talking to us about playing farmers and guys that are driving buses and guys that literally it's like playing Wrexham. It's playing a Sunday league team. And when you go out there with your full 11 squad of everybody that it should be, and there's nobody on that team with the mentality. I think aside from Leach, there's nobody with the mentality of that team to say, I don't care if it's 2-0, we want 9.
Yeah.
This is our chance where we're fully healthy to prove to everybody that this team can do something. I know it's Newport, but at the same time, I wanted a performance. Yep. I don't care about a win. I don't care if we beat Wolves. I don't care if we beat West Ham. I don't care if we beat Villa. None of that matters anymore to me unless we can see an identity and a performance. And yes, I get it. I saw United Twitter, this 11 hasn't played together in 7 months because none of them. I don't give a fuck. I truthfully don't. Mm-hmm. It's getting to the point now where we have an 11 that are healthy. I love Ten Hag, but these guys are playing. He's playing for his job because the same review that's going on with all these players is going on for Ten Hag. And if he can't figure out how to get these guys to play in a consistent style, I don't care if we win games or lose games. If we win and lose in the same way, there's progress. And we didn't even see that against a League 2 side of Newport. And again, all credit to Newport. The goal they scored, banger. Yes, if Leach is an inch taller, does it not go in? Probably. But at the same time, it's Newport. And the second goal they scored was it's deserved. Anthony, terrible defensively. Varane, 5-time Champions League, doesn't matter. League 2 gets in behind him and he scores a goal. It's the frustration's at an all-time high from a game that was supposed to be a kickstart to the second half of our season, beat a League 2 side, 6-0, our 11's back, going into Wolves away, and instead we won 4-2, and the entire fan base feels like a loss. Yeah. And that's just the honest-to-God truth. It does.
The stat that I heard after the game was in that game, between Garnacho, Antony, and Bruno, collectively, they had 16 shots between the three of them. Haaland had one. And
he scored. And it was from a bang ball bouncing around the box and just scored.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of service is truthfully concerning. We went on our Rashford rant, but I talked about it last time we talked United, but like there's like 3 players that are on my like do not sell list, that are on my like no untouchable list, if you will. Everyone else is on the chopping block, and I think this is just another game that shows that. I hope that we figure it out, man. Like the last half of the season, we still have a lot to play for. The back half of the season, but it's not looking good, bruv. Like it's not looking good. Just the mentality of just switching off makes 0 sense to me. And again, just like you said, other than Licha, it doesn't even look like there's anyone on the field that has even.
I want somebody that cares. I want somebody that, like, and as much shit as you guys have heard me, and I will continue to do every time he plays, as much shit as I talk on McTominay, the dude gives a shit.
Yeah.
The dude steps on the field, cares about the badge, and that's the type of guy that we wanted Rashford to be. He's Mank through and through. He lives and dies by the club. If he wants to be at United forever and be something special, show it. Same thing goes with, like, you get it from Casemiro and Varane, but that's almost like, we use the word aura. That is their aura. They don't have to do anything but show up, and you should listen. And we have a bunch of players that are on that field that it's selfish. They're not playing for each other. They're not playing in a cohesive unit. You see the game plan work that Ten Hag sets up, and then Ten Hag doesn't switch their mentality off.
Yeah.
That's these overpaid, overpaid, just crybaby players that piss me to God knows that, man.
It's like United TV over here.
It is.
Yeah.
It makes
Take a
me,
drink.
it makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah.
I will say though, that's the brilliance of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Is moments like those. Like, I
100%.
thought it was so cool. Like, those fans were going absolutely nuts. And like, even the commentator was like, the thought of them getting to go play at Old Trafford, like the possibility, even like those guys were buzzing at that time.
It ended 2-2, and my girlfriend is not a huge soccer fan by any means, but we were walking out, going to go grab some breakfast. I passively had the game on. It was 2-up. You guys were 2-up. I just, kind of stopped watching. Whatever. I expected.
I did too, man.
domination.
Trust me. I turned like one eye.
I literally turned a corner, did something, came back into the room. We're walking out the door. It was 2-2, and I just go, that's wild. And she was like, is that Manchester United? I was like, yeah, it's Man U. I was like, you remember you watched Wrexham. They made this big run and beat all these teams that they shouldn't have beat. She's like, yeah. I was like, same competition. They're also in Wrexham's league. So we're.
You want to talk about toxic Twitter? When Newport scored that second, the world was falling. Literally, the United Twitter just blew up.
Yeah. Ain't that something?
But we
They went
moved.
to win.
We moved.
We
Yeah,
moved.
want to win.
Shout out to United for pulling it out.
Hey, there's only a certain amount of teams that can make it to the next round of the
Tough place to play.
Tough place to play.
We've been saying it all season.
You know the vibes. That's the recap of our FA Cup action from this past week.
I mean, so anyway, Henry had to dip out. He was close to punching me. We were arguing about United. So he ended up having to dip out. Him and Winks had to get to indoor. But yeah, we're gonna move on to our next segment. Butchie, tee
I'm
us up
honestly
here.
surprised you still stayed here. To be
I
fair.
know, dude.
The kid was hot.
The moment that we start talking about United, you guys can see my blood starts boiling, my face gets red, and this is exactly how I look like watching games too. So this is no different.
We're very authentic here.
Yeah, very authentic.
100%, brother. We're gonna finish tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, with a Bucci Main blind ranking.
I'm actually
draft list.
so pumped for this.
I'm really pumped for this one. We've done forwards, we've done midfielders, we've done defenders. This blind
managers.
ranking, we're not doing managers.
Oh, no.
Hell no!
Good.
Jurgen would have been 10 so quick.
No, we ain't doing managers. Not after the Jurgen talk. This is what I called a superstars of the game draft list.
Okay.
Blind ranking draft.
Superstars of the game.
I chose current superstars. By the way,
I like this.
completely
I like this.
random.
and
the
we're
entire
rating
world.
them on player.
You're rating them on player, brother.
There's no way
Okay.
this list isn't completely random, bro. Get out of
I
here.
swear, bro.
Would you go random
swear.
player
Verge.
generator?
I swear.
All right.
Okay. Here's your.
Okay, can you give us like a spectrum?
Yeah. So we're gonna blind rank these players based on how you guys think they are in terms of levels.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So like we always talk about levels. This guy's levels above this player. This player.
Okay. I was gonna say, can you give us like the worst of the worst, just so we have
roll
a
it.
ballpark? But
I already got
that's why I said just
Hey,
roll it.
to prevent the gotcha moment, why don't you do your list in reverse?
Ooh. He won't.
You won't.
He
Why
won't.
don't you do your list in reverse?
He won't.
Because I know he sits there and he tries to tee something up where he's like, gotcha at the end. Why don't you
won't.
do your list in reverse?
He won't.
Yes,
He's not
that's
gonna
Cat.
run. So now we know. Now we know.
You're caught.
Now we
you're
know.
not caught.
You're
That's
caught,
fact.
bro.
That's
I
so
like to do it a specific way. All right, hey, we're gonna rip it. Hey, this is gonna be fun. I'm excited
Okay,
to
so
see.
super. Okay.
I'm excited to see where you guys, because I can't vote, so I'm excited to see where you guys place these guys. Okay.
I also feel like the fans watching need to know that Butchie is barefoot. I don't know why that was important to me.
Yeah, I'm
But
gonna
I
be
saw
honest.
him scratch his foot at one point. I was like,
I'm gonna be honest. My dogs are out.
Oh,
the dogs are
my dogs are out.
barking.
That's
I
unreal.
need
Find
to
him on
clip my
Feet Finder.
toenails, no cap. All right. Okay. Here's number one. Okay. Vinicius Jr.
Out of 10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Gotta Jr.
All right. I
You're
think we
putting
got to do
us
this
in a
strategically.
blender.
Yeah.
I feel like it's smart to start in the middle.
I
no?
know, but
Okay,
you think he's
okay.
on the higher end?
Okay, Vinny's a top 3 winger in the world right now.
Yeah.
I agree with that. We're in agreement on that.
So
I was thinking 4
I'm good with 4.
because I don't think he's a 5.
Hey, there's got to be.
And
there's
and
gotta
that's
be
normally
worse,
who you
right?
put the first one, and there's got to be worse.
Do we just set him as the bar?
Goes over here, Mo.
Because-
We can't do 5.
Because if we
Dude, I
set him,
have to, bro. It's like because I know you. This list is going to be all superstars. Is Vinny one of the top 10 players in the world? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But it just depends on who's. I'm good with 4. I'm good with 4. I'm
Are
just
you
gonna.
thinking 5 though?
I'm gonna look in this camera and say I'm not sure about 4, but I'm
But
gonna go with
are
4.
you, are you
If we-
thinking that's too high or too low?
if we put him at 5, he's gonna end. We're gonna get
I'm
someone
okay with putting him at
stupid
5.
I'm,
3.
I'm good with 4.
Okay.
We'll stay
Are we
with
gonna
4.
lock
'Cause
that in?
I do
Okay.
rate Vinny.
I do.
Okay,
too.
we're gonna lock Vinny in at 4.
Yes.
Okay,
4.
Nikki's got it.
I got it.
I don't know why I'm like nervous right
I
now.
know.
I freaking love this segment.
All right.
All right, number 2 is Jude.
God,
2 or 1. Has to be 2 or 1.
God,
I
has
told you
to
he's
be.
superstars of the game.
No
bruh.
way.
Right now?
Jude.
Right now,
Right
he has
now,
to be
Jude's,
2 or 1.
Jude's arguably the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, that's
I
what
mean,
I'm saying. He's got to be 2 or 1.
Just think
The
about
only other person I'm thinking is maybe KDB.
just there's
Yeah.
some players on
Yeah.
this list, brother.
Let's
Some
think of some superstars besides Jude that we would put up above.
Nick's got a point.
I'm gonna. Yeah. I'm just thinking 1 or 2 because I'm in complete
Yeah.
agreement. Like I would take a ton of like I'm just saying this in terms of all around like players. Like I think I would take a ton over Haaland, and like that's why I don't necessarily even want to put Haaland 1. That Jude's 1 or 2 for me.
I
man.
agree with you 100% on
The
Jude
only
being
player
1 or
that
2.
higher than Jude for me is KDB when he's healthy.
I agree.
I'm good with 2.
Let's
I'm
do
good with 2. I'm good with saving that spot.
Okay.
I'm good
And
with
what if he
saving
doesn't
that
his with the
What do you-
KDB?
What are we
What
gonna
do
do,
you think?
KDB?
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Then we'll put Maguire at 1.
Shit.
I think, yeah, I'm okay with 2. Jude's incredible. He's
He
a
is.
generational
I have to
talent,
say
and
this.
I think
he's the best player in the world right now, but I'm still going to put him at 2.
that's so wild.
No,
2.
no, let's just lock 1 then.
I'm okay with
Who are we gonna
we're talking
replace him
about
with?
KDB.
If KDB
Okay,
comes in second,
Okay,
he's been
KDB.
hurt
Okay,
for
but
4 months.
okay, let's take
KDB.
a step back for a second. He said superstar. Like the whole aspect of a superstar, I think Jude encompasses that more than KDB.
I think it's Jude.
I'm good with 1.
Let's do 1.
Jude's 1,
Jude
baby.
won.
Jude's
Yeah,
1.
lock it, lock it.
Henry would.
I know.
He,
Jude's a
Henry-
he
freak.
would be pitching.
I
Zen
think
with
I
here
think
if he
Henry
was
and
still here.
Winks would both agree with us there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
me
Jude's
too.
1.
Okay.
All right.
Good with it.
Next
He
pick.
has to look.
Next pick is Pedri.
Ooh. Super.
Pedri.
Wait,
He's a superstar.
I rate
he's
I
a-
rate Pedri. Pedri's a
superstar.
world class player. He's been big for
World-class.
Barcelona since coming back from injury.
When he's played this year, he's been.
And this is
phenomenal.
just me off like my first initial thought. You guys can veto. I was thinking 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8 was where I went.
What do you think?
I don't think my initial thought is who's the other guy that's in the same league that he's in that's equally as good, if not better, and it's Jude. So like my basis is well below that.
I also think you think superstar. Like
Yeah.
I think Pedri's a very, very good player,
Agreed.
but the word if we're doing superstar, Pedri's not a superstar. In my
Let's do
opinion.
8. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm good with 8.
Yep.
And what I meant by superstars of the game, I meant
Well, I mean,
players.
big dogs.
Yeah, the big
Yeah, the
dogs,
big-
like the
yeah,
guys
yeah.
that we would call world class
We
talents,
figured
right?
as much. Yeah.
So Pedri, we're gonna lock at 8.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Your next pick is
He's gonna throw some.
Musiala.
Ooh.
If you guys put Musiala above Pedri, I'm
I was
gonna
gonna say-
smack the shit out of all you.
He's got to be right below. Yeah.
Oh, you think he's below?
Yeah, he ain't better than Pedri,
Ooh,
bro.
I think it's close. I don't think. I think you
they're
freaking
similar
out like that.
players.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think they're very close. And
Musiala
I
is
think I'm
world
going
class.
back to the superstar.
100%.
Like I think Musiala the superstar level. I know we just said that like we're talking about world class players and all that, but like I could see Musiala being a bigger superstar than. I don't know.
His
In the
dribbling
future-
is
In the
unique.
future,
I think he's 9 or 7. Or are you thinking he's more?
I'm thinking of the profile of player. Like I do think that a lot of the stuff that Musiala does and the way that he plays gets noticed a lot more than Pedri just because of the way they play. Like Musiala's the dribbling, beating people,
Yeah.
scoring some worldies. Pedri's more that tiki-taka, makes things happen, put in a tackle,
Agreed.
pass the ball, move the ball.
I also look at the teams they play for,
Yeah.
and like, I think I'm gonna have a goal and then 2 assists in the Bundesliga. So like,
I do think it. What do you guys? You guys are between 7 and. I think I'm definitely between 7 and 9.
I am too.
I'm trying to think of if I rate him more than I rate Pedri, and I don't know if I do. But
I also think Butch is gonna throw us some names that are just ass, and like we're gonna need to
yeah,
put
you're
under.
Right, you're right.
Like, cause think about it, if we put him at 9, we have one spot
I
for
like-
worse than Musiala.
I'm good with 7.
I like 7.
I like
I'm good with
7.
7. Yeah,
Butch is pissed, but I like 7.
I'm good with 7. I
Just
think there's
lock
more.
it, lock it.
I think there's more of a potential in Musiala
right.
than Pedri.
Real quick, Nikki, read off what we have so far.
Okay,
I
so
can
we
hear it
have
again.
Vinny at 4,
Okay.
Jude at 1,
Okay.
Pedri at 8, Musiala at 7.
One thing I would like to note is that these are all children.
Yes, he's going very
we are
young.
talking about children.
He's going very
through
young
the first
right
4
now.
picks here. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He goes, because now he's about to
Your
throw out an
next
oldie
pick.
All right, so,
sour.
Hold up, bro.
This is our 5th. Yeah, 5th.
This is your next pick. Your next pick's Bruno.
Oh wow,
Gag me.
he's gonna hate this.
I mean, you guys can say what you want.
He's world class.
He's better than Pedri.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
better than
He's better than
Musiala.
He's better than
Yeah.
Musiala.
I think he's
I
under
don't
Vinny.
think. I don't think he's.
Just think about
I think
who-
I think he's under. This is tough because like statistically, and I know stats
I
on
know.
everything. He like
I know you have
he
the backing
blows
on that. I was
he
gonna
blows
say.
KDB out of the
Dobes
water.
has a bunch of backing on the stats
But the
with
stat,
Bruno.
I do think in terms of superstar, I think when I look at Vinny can put a game on its head by himself.
Yeah.
And I don't
Agreed.
think that Bruno has the
Wholeheartedly.
ability. Bruno can be a match winner, but he's a creator.
You want me to? You're not
think
gonna
6.
like this.
I think 6.
You're not gonna like when I say this, but I think if Bruno was on another team,
Oh.
If
yeah.
Bruno was
Yeah.
Bruno was wearing a light blue shirt and said Man City on the front, like he would be compared with the best stars in all of football.
like, I
it's
think he
because
would
it's
be-
because he wears a Manchester United kit that he gets so much hate. I think he's 6. I'm not going to put him above Vinny.
I'm okay with 6.
I'm good with 6.
Because I just like again, Vinny is one of those guys. Same thing with Jude. Any given moment, he
I
can
thought
change
he was
a
going
game.
2 or 3. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
there's 2, 3, and 4 are players that, yeah, I just think
Do
are
we have
gonna
a
be-
5?
no. I think he's.
What
You
if-
want to make him in the bench?
I was gonna say, what if we slid him 5?
Oh,
I'm good with it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm good with it.
Well,
I think again.
so that means that the gap between Vinny and Bruno is 4 and 5.
I don't think that's that wide.
I agree.
I agree in the fact that Vinny will change a game by himself.
Yes.
But when we're looking at the player, Bruno would have more stats and more things of accolade.
agree.
I'll
with
be
a
the
team like that.
I'll be the I think 6.
Okay.
Reason being is and Bruno's my favorite United player. I think the reason is that the reason that he's 6 and not 5, as crazy as it sounds, the dude bitches are so.
I was about to
like
throw
if we're
that
gonna
at
use
you.
if
I
we're
was
gonna
about to say
if we're
superstar.
gonna use him as a benchmark,
So
I think he's
obnoxious.
6.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Facts.
All right, next.
All right, lock it at 6.
Yeah.
Next one is Frankie De Jong.
Damn it.
I think he's a
5?
perfect benchmark.
5.
I think he's a.
I was
perfect
about to
benchmark.
say I think he's a 5.
Do we genuinely think Frankie's better than Bruno?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm
That's
gonna
why. That's
Superstar.
literally why I
Superstar.
said
keep it
Bruno
a
at
buck.
5 because I felt
Oh yeah.
there was going to be a
I was
guy
quick
in this
to that.
world.
I'm gonna keep it a buck in this, John. If you put Frankie and Bruno on the same field, my eyes would be drawn more towards Frankie De Jong.
Okay.
In terms of skill set.
Dobes hated that take.
Skill set.
Dobes absolutely
Skill
hated
set.
that
Those
take.
creative
There's-
you don't like
I
creative you
know.
don't like creative chances then. He likes 5-yard passes.
think De
which is
Jong's
fair.
5.
Which is fair. We all see the game differently.
I think De Jong's 5.
Tiki-taka truther over here.
Yeah, I love Frankie. I'm good with 5.
I think he's
Truthfully,
at
I'm good
5.
with. I think you can interchange those two.
6 and 5, I agree. Yeah,
Yep.
If you're going based off of stats and you go Bruno, but I don't think
I think if you flip them and their teams, like I think we would see Bruno.
The game-
Like,
You do the same
the game's
thing.
more
That's
than
what I'm
the
saying.
game's more than stats. Frankie doesn't have the stats, but the guy's got it all.
oh, he's a baller.
Okay. Frankie at 5?
Yep.
Frankie the benchmark.
All right, we're going to go. The next one is Mo Salah.
10.
He's a superstar, and you can't sit here and say he's not a superstar.
And just remember, you have no vote here.
I have 0 votes.
So-
Don't even
What do we
contribute.
have left?
So we got what's left is 2, 3, 9, 10.
10.
I think he's 9.
Bro, I'm going to smack the shit out you.
Superstar.
Brother, he's one of the
He's
best.
King of Egypt.
He's one of the best wingers still
Ever.
in the world now. He's not Vinny. So I mean, what did we put
We
Vinny
have
at
to
4?
put yeah,
So
so
we
he
have
has to be 3.
He's
I
better
don't
than-
think I think that's way too high.
I think he's better than Musiala. What do we say?
Pedri,
Pedri.
Bruno,
I think he's
Frankie.
better than Bruno. I think he's better than Frankie.
I'm good at what do we have? 3?
3.
3.
I'm totally okay. with
I will
that.
never not mention his name and not say tragic hairline.
Bro.
Tragic
Hey,
hairline.
that's
hey, you know, you
It
guys
goes into superstar, man. Goofy looking dude.
Yeah,
He's at 3, I guess.
he's building schools in Egypt. Give him that. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All
What do you
right,
think
so
he's going to play next year, dude?
most 3.
Saudi.
Al
He's
Hilal.
gone.
Well, yeah. All right, so next one.
2, 9, and 10.
2, 9,
we
and
kind of
10.
screwed
I
ourselves
know,
here.
I
We
know,
gotta,
we
we gotta
did.
be.
Yeah,
we
we
gotta
Next
be.
one is Kylian Mbappe.
Oh, shit! I
my.
forgot about that.
No.
2. We got Jude as 1. I think, to be fair, I think that Jude this season has been better than Mbappe.
No, I'm 100% on this.
I
I
have no issues
I
with-
was doing that because are we giving up the 2 spot?
We're gonna get someone just way better than Pedri, way better than.
If you want to, but Mbappe,
I know. You can't put him at
embraces
8,
what
right?
is to
Can't
be
put him at 9, right?
superstar.
You're right. You're
You
right.
got-
I just hate
you got
him right
3
now.
left.
I
This is
absolutely hate
including this one.
Mbappe.
so if we put him at 2, we literally just leave 9 and 10.
Well, hold up. We have
Yeah, we leave 9 and 10.
We're hosts.
Yeah.
We should have put Pedri at 10.
Yeah, we should.
We're host.
I think, yeah.
We're host.
Okay,
So
so
where's Killian
he's
going?
got to go 2,
He's gotta
Okay.
go
which
2.
is so unfortunate.
All right.
Because I
So we have 9 and 10 left.
yeah.
I'm
All
disgusted.
right, next
already.
one.
He's-
The next one's De Bruyne.
God.
Yeah. See, this is why you didn't read it backwards. This is why you didn't read it backwards.
Look at this camera, chat. Butch is a cap. Butch is a giant cap. He does this. I gotcha. To be fair, we're during current form. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't
Guys,
know.
You know,
entered.
to be honest,
You
that's
know
a true statement.
We don't know.
That name is the reason why I was like, we were quick on the 2 because Kevin was the only one that I would put at 2 over Mbappe, but he screwed us. So
When
we
you
got to
s-
put him. What do we put him at? 9. Got
9.
to 9.
I
That's
think-
stupid. Where
Honestly,
do we?
should we
Let's
put him?
actually
Should we
rank
put him
him.
at 10 just for shits and gigs?
Yeah,
Just
because he's hurt. Yeah,
Nah, be
10.
truthful, bro.
No, I think
Who's
I-
he
You're
got
gonna
saved for
someone
us?
sick at the end here, and it's
All right, we do 9. That's just
All right.
okay. Can we? Before we move on, let's be real. Like we have a fresh thing where we
personal
putting him
opinion.
2 probably. We putting him at 2.
If I could vote,
KDB.
Jude, KDB,
Yeah.
Mbappe.
Yeah.
think
Jude's
We
gotta
agree
be
with that?
one.
KDB would be 1 for me, man.
Oh wow. Okay. Next name. Hey, he's at 9 for us.
I love Jude. Jude's one of my favorite players in the world, but KDB is different gravy, man.
Man's at 9. So
All right, so that means our 10th spot is Erling Haaland.
To be fair,
To be honest, though,
all right, hear me out.
Hey,
chat.
hold
they're
on,
both
hold on.
injured.
Chat, hear me out.
Before you guys-
overall football players, overall what they can do with the ball, he's 10th on this list.
10.
I don't think that's a bad.
He's
I don't
10th
think
on
that's a
this
bad
list.
spot.
Oh my.
He scores goals, bruh.
Erling Haaland, one of the best
At a
goal,
rate that we've never seen
the
before.
best goal scorer in the world. Half the time, the dude's like he can't dribble. Half the time, the dude
He
can't
can
complete a fire.
dribble. The man still scores goals off
Hey,
the dribble.
He's the worst footballer in the list.
Oh,
I'm
you
a
guys
best
are
goal scorer.
crazy.
Best goal scorer without a doubt.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
Ball
gonna be
knowers, no
honest,
ball.
I think you guys actually did a good job. With this.
Absolute
I
fucking
don't
dog in the
think we
box.
did.
Dog
I
in the
think you did a
box.
pretty good
One
job with this list.
1 through 8 is money.
Yeah, I agree.
One-
I agree. 1 through 8 is
Yeah.
money, and then 9 and 10 are
There's a lot of
awful.
superstars in the
we
world
would
of
have
football.
dropped
Our-
5 to 7, and everyone else stayed in that position, and we slot some guys in.
would've
Maybe
had a perfect-
Haaland in there.
Our 9 and 10 should be 1, 2, or 3.
To be fair, I did say it when we were going off of Jude and stuff. Like I said that, like I don't think there's a ton of players that I think are overall football like better footballers than Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
But we're doing
agree with
superstars.
that, but
the
the
only
man's still in.
He's a dog,
Bro.
bro.
Playing the World Cup though, Norway.
Facts. Hey, I'm just gonna keep it a buck before we sign off that you guys ranked Mo Salah higher than KDB. So this is a great day for me.
That
Chat,
was the
hey,
setup.
chat, you
Everyone
heard it from the
knows.
boys.
that
I
on
didn't say
purpose.
shit.
You
We-
literally
I
did
didn't
that
say
on
anything.
purpose.
at the
It
same
was-
time, Butch, it's like
We told them to read it backwards.
we're getting ready for 12 to 15 years of suffering and like terrible seasons. So you know what?
have your fun.
We'll let you have this.
I didn't think about Liverpool
Salah,
until
as
Klopp,
he's
to
about
be
to
fair,
leave,
so.
is better than KDB for you.
Do you remember when Gerrard slipped that one time and then they?
I remember Demba Ba.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Demba Ba.
What a guy.
All right.
How
Class.
great would a Salah slip be, or like a miss
Oh,
in the
stop.
6 on the final day to
Oh.
lose the league? Oh
No, missed 10.
Oh,
A missed
dude,
10.
I've said it a
A
couple
missed 10
times.
from Salah. I'm calling it now.
I've said it a couple times this year. If the Luis Diaz offside onside goal at Spurs
loses in the league.
loses them the league, I will laugh so fucking hard. I think that will be the funniest thing ever.
All right. Hey, I'm going to be honest. That was a fun blind ranking. You guys did a great job. Tonight's episode was lit. We had all 6 of the fellas back here at Half Coast Studios recording the first ever Mecca Banter podcast with us 6 as a crew
True.
together. This was a special
The
episode.
last time you
pretty
guys
cool, man.
recorded here, I was a special guest.
You were?
That is true.
You were. Yeah, shout out the studios. I had a blast, boys.
Yeah,
I think
love
we
the
got
banter.
to shout out. I do know that like our fan base is forever growing, and shout out to the people that, you know, we're 6 guys who, like Hoover said, we're thousands of miles away from the diehard clubs that we support. And the thing that we love doing together is talking footy. So anybody that tunes in, like shout out to you guys. Comment.
Okay, if you made it this far,
Yeah, if you
Shout
made,
out
if
to
you
you
made it
guys.
this far, it's only going to get better. Literally, just 6 guys that love chatting footy and are good friends. So shout out to you guys that listen.
The basis of the pod for when we even started it was we talk this way anyway every week. Why not just have some other people hear
Yeah.
it? You know,
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
100%. Well said. We're just 6 bruvs being blokes. 66 dudes being chaps.
hey,
And it's
quote
great.
it.
Couple lads,
Couple
being
lads.
Put it in his bio.
dudes.
Couple lads being blokes, man. So hey, to all of our listeners, man, we appreciate you sticking with us for this long and fun episode. As always, catch us on our social medias, Twitter, Instagram. Our TikTok's starting to blow up a little bit, so we're gonna be making some tiki-takis for you. All right.
But you can be dancing.
I ain't gonna be dancing shit. All right. Hey, peace and love, man. We appreciate
Peace.
you.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah.